So in this millennium, minus 2005, out of the last 19 elections for Water Board and the Civil Service Commissioner, only 2 of those races have been competitive. The Water Board was competitive in 2009, which 2 people won 2 seats, 3 people ran. So there's 3 candidates for 2 seats, 2 people won, 1 lost. 2009 Water Board. And then the only other competitive Civil Service Commission race was in 2011. And then the nominee is the person that's up for election now, today. So today, 2017, the 3-member Civil Service Board is made up of Sharon Bonner, and she's going to be in there for another 4 years. These are 6-year terms. They get to be Civil Service Commissioner for 6 fucking years. And so for them to be 2 terms is a little ridiculous, 12 years, but 3 or 4 terms? There's one guy who's been the Water Board Commissioner since 1988. That's a career politician. That's a lot. So anyways, Danny Archibicu, Guy Kennedy, Sharon Bonner. Guy Kennedy's term ends in 2009. And then Danny Archibicu. He's the current incumbent up for re-election right now. They serve staggered 6-year terms. So 6 years ago was 2011, and in 2011, the Civil Service Commissioner's chair had 3 nominees competing against each other, an occurrence that's as rare as the eclipse. Jointly, Robinson and Valdez had 60% of the vote, but Danny Archibicu had 40%. So he had the plurality. He was the plurality winner, but he wasn't the majority winner. He only got 40% of the vote. He got more than the other 2 candidates, but he only got 40% of the vote. So therefore, he only represents those 40% as far as we know. Now, if we had instant runoff voting, which I believe in instant runoff voting, this would never have happened. Valdez's votes, since he was in last place, would have been redistributed to Robinson or Danny, depending on who Valdez's voters voted for second place. So Valdez loses, now his votes get redistributed to their second place choices. So instant runoff voting guarantees a majority winner, one that actually has the full confidence of the people, instead of a weak 40% plurality. 40% is not the majority. You don't have the majority vote. You have no democratic legitimacy. You don't have the confidence of the majority of the people, because the majority of the people didn't vote for Danny Archibicu 6 years ago. So he didn't even have, I wouldn't have had confidence in that election. Any election which has under 50% turnout rate has no democratic legitimacy. But we don't redo elections in America. So even if one person votes for himself to be king and the entire town boycotts it, we go with that decision. Well, he voted for himself, but we all boycotted it. It doesn't matter. We had an election. So unless there's just like mass, like violent intimidation or something at the polls. But instant runoff voting would have guaranteed a majority winner, one that actually had the full confidence of the people instead of a weak 40% plurality. If Valdez's voters liked Robinson better than Danny Archibicu, then Danny wouldn't be in the presidential chair of the Water Board today. He's the chair today. If they liked Danny better, then we the people would at least know that he had the support of the majority of the voters of Pueblo City, Pueblo County, Colorado, USA, which is a confidence that we don't have today. So since the county doesn't have the public records for the 2005 election in Pueblo, I don't know exactly how long Danny has been the presidential chair of the Civil Service Board. Danny Archibicu is the incumbent whose seat is up for re-election this year. So he's been in there for the last 6 years, for at least 1 term, maybe 12 years, maybe 3 terms. The second term is forgivable, third term is not. That's a career politician. George Washington stopped down after 2 4-year terms. And so, you know, for people that want to do 3 terms, 3 6-year terms, I mean, you've already served, if you do 2 6-year terms, you've already served 4 years more than 2 4-year terms. So 2 terms, 12 years for Civil Service Board members, plenty of time to get whatever policies implemented that they wanted. Not only could a third termer have accomplished all their goals in those 12 years, but they should have elevated a successor to take their place so they can move on to bigger and better things. So that's unforgivable. Third terms are unforgivable. If Danny Archibald is vying for a third term, then I'd consider this seat easy pickings. If you're running for office, water board seat, or civil service commissioner, it's seeming that nobody has ran for it. They haven't announced it. The city clerk hasn't announced it. The paper didn't even mention the water board or the civil service board. They didn't even mention it, which leads me to believe that nobody turned their signatures in. Nobody did. Danny got his paperwork. Maybe he didn't turn his signatures in. I don't know. I'm going to go check tomorrow at the ballot placement. But I couldn't find a Facebook page for Danny Archibald. I want a politician who is forthcoming with information. I want leaders who want to talk to me directly or to the public, like videotaping government meetings and or providing minutes or the agenda of the meeting online to have complete transparency. Here's what we discussed. Here's everything we talked about. I want leaders who want to inform me, to tell me things. And having a Facebook is one way for politicians to directly connect with their constituency. Also, if you don't have Facebook, you don't exist. You aren't real. At least that's what a postmodern information internet era millennial once told me. Other primary functions of the Civil Service Commission are as follows. Develop and administer competitive examinations for all classified positions for the city of Pueblo. Recruit applicants and manage the hiring process for all classified and unclassified positions. Update and improve the ways applicants can apply for city jobs. Provide direction and support to candidates seeking employment with the city. Provide effective, efficient, and friendly customer service to all of Pueblo City's citizens. Support human resources efforts to locate and identify candidates for city jobs through recruitment efforts. Develop eligibility list and position eligibility list. Locate and identify through merit and fitness testing the best candidates for the city of Pueblo's classified jobs. Hold regular monthly meetings. Classification, reclassification, allocation of positions, and disciplinary action of city employees. Maintain equitable appeal processing. Provide a neutral environment so the Civil Service Commission can hear the type of appeals that are specified in the Pueblo Municipal Code. Provide ongoing support to the city's departments throughout the hiring process. So it's all about the hiring process, right? It's all about helping the public get to, get their applications in, get more people, recruit more people, and then to give all the services that they need. Effective, efficient, friendly customer service. And then something about eligibility and position eligibility list. So apparently they got the list of their own friends, a nepotism list. I hope it's anti-nepotism, but I'm betting it's friends and family. They also said through merit and fitness testing. So does that mean they're forcing their police officers to do fitness testing or their fire department employees? That's a good idea. They're going to need to run after a perp. If you can't run after a perp, I don't see why, we're going to have some out-of-shape police officer. What good is that? If anything, he'll want to start violence, over he'll fuck with the obedient good people, but not the tough fucking people. And then hold regular meetings. The disciplinary action of city employees, apparently that's Civil Service Commission. Something about appeal processing and then specified in Pueblo Municipal Code. So there's something else that's going on here with the Civil Service Commission as well. And then they said ongoing support to the city's departments through the hiring process. So I don't know why you're giving support to the departments. You're just supposed to give it, support to the people that you're going to hire. So I don't understand that either. But those are a smattering of the primary functions, their objectives of the Civil Service Commission. That's what they do. They hire the police. They hire the bomb squads. They hire the parks and rec people, the maintenance workers, the clerks, the bus drivers, Pueblo Transit, the 911 operators, the communication operators. They're the ones that hire all these people based upon merit, not based upon nepotism, not based upon family or friendships, based upon who's the best person for the job. That's who gets the job. Unfortunately, if only one person applies for the job, Sam Azad said he was going to hire internally anyway, so that effectively basically said if anybody on the outside had hired for the police chief, you wouldn't have got it. No way. Sam Azad said he was going to hire from within. Velez wanted that to happen. That's exactly what happened. So the good old boys club, He was next in line, and then he got, the job. So essentially, with these board candidates, with the Civil Service Commission Board, with the City Council Board, with the School Board, and with the Water Board, I want all the same things from all four of those boards. With the board election, we the people, by our votes, aren't hiring the man, we're hiring the man who hires the man or the woman. So we're hiring the men and the women who hire the man or the woman. That's what we're hiring. So it's indirect. It's an indirect democracy, right? But these are the legislators. So these are the people that's going to keep the man in place. They're going to keep the woman in line. So one main responsibility for all the boards is this: hire a great executive, superintendent, manager, director, dictator, and keep them in line. And that's it. And if you can't keep them in line, then fire them like it ain't shit. That's it. That's the main job that I want for every single one of these legislative positions. Are you tough enough? Are you brave enough to criticize the executive dictator? And if need be, if the cons outweigh the pros, can you fire them completely? I think it'd be a great job. This would be a great job for an anti-Trump. Trump likes to fire a bunch of low-level employees. If you're on the city council, you get to fire the Donald Trump. You get to fire the most powerful man in the city. That's the opposite of Donald Trump. You get to fire them. And you know how when Donald Trump fires them, right, he just like, you're fired. I don't give a fuck about your life. You're fired. Fuck you. Fuck wherever you go. I don't want you in my organization no more. Like it ain't shit, right? Donald Trump fires fucking low-level working-class employees, non-unionized working-class employees like it ain't shit. You're fired. So if the Donald Trumps in the world could fire us like we ain't shit, then we should fire them like they ain't shit. So honestly, I'd prefer my judge to be an average citizen, not an elite, not a career politician, but a regular housewife or a widow, a retired Navy veteran, a teacher, a bus driver, a burger flipper, because they would understand what the 99% go through daily on the reg. But if I could choose my dream civil service commissioner, who they would be, I would have to go with Mr. Fairness or Mrs. Fair and Just. That's their reputation. They're just fair, they're just. They're all about the golden rule. They're all about eye for an eye. If somebody hurts somebody else, well then you need to ask for forgiveness until you get their forgiveness, till the victim is satisfied. They're fair and just people on many levels in all areas of life. That's what I want. Them to be fair and for them to be just. They're the referees at the basketball and football games. They sacrifice their playing time in order to judge the game, to make the tough but fair and just calls. That's what I want. That's what I want in my civil service commissioner. I also want Mrs. Fair and Just to be thoroughly anti-nepotism. It'd be great if she was flat out against giving friends and family jobs and fancy titles and taxpayer-paid positions. That's a requirement. Be against nepotism. You're not going to give jobs to family and friends. But what would be even better, what would guarantee that Mr. or Mrs. Fair and Just isn't Mr. Nepotism or Mrs. Nepotism would be if they didn't have any friends or family at all. If they didn't have any friends or family at all, then they couldn't be corrupt. At no point in time could corruption seep in unless they just, somebody smiled at them or something, so they, hired somebody that wasn't competent for the job because they thought they might get some. But if you have no friends and family, you're not going to cheat for anybody. You're going to look at 10 people as if they're all equal. And therefore, you take the 10 people and you decide who you think would be, who's the meritocracy, who can do the best job. Not who's my best friend. Can I help my friends out? So I would also like for my civil service commissioner to have some kind of fancy and detailed rubric from which to judge everybody from. A lot of teachers have to have rubrics because when they judge people's papers, they want to make sure that they judge from the same set of standards for every single one of their classmates. So that's a lot of work to put, a lot of work into a rubric. So that's my dream civil service commissioner, is a non-biased third-party outsider who's got no friends or family, and who carries around a uniform hiring rubric, which sets the same standards for everybody to ensure neutrality. That's what I want. An honest, fair, smart person who has no friends or family, who carries a rubric everywhere she goes. Pueblo City's Civil Service Commission meetings are held on the second Tuesday of every month at 5:30 p.m. at the City Council Chambers, 3rd floor at 1 City Hall Place, Pueblo, Colorado 81001. Nothing sacred in a democracy except for the democracy itself. And somebody should update that Ballotpedia page for Pueblo City Schools election 2017. And how come Ballotpedia doesn't have our city elections? I don't see our city elections anywhere. Pueblo City election has been on the down low. Shh. Don't tell anybody. So this is the last 2.5 months. So this is the time when we should be talking about who these people are, what is their motivations, what are their platforms, what kind of leaders are they going to be? Are they going to represent us, or are they going to run roughshod over us and not give a flying fuck? So I think if we can at least find people who care, let's get people who care. If you care, I want you to be in government. So, John Masters, August 29th, Tuesday, 2017. Peace.